Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of Evansville's weekly noon luncheon. I'm your president, Mike Beavers. Join me as we are locally bridging our past, building our future, as we globally strive to be a gift to the world. As Rotarians, we live by the four-way test in all things that we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Join us as we pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll now be led in prayer by Rick Pelletier. Please keep all Rotarians and their families and those currently experiencing hardships in your thoughts and prayers. Rick?
Well, the media is here to hear today's prayer. That's just such an honor. It's amazing. Well, I'm humbled by that. Thanks, Mike, for calling them over. I'll be available for interviews afterwards as well. I'm glad we got some laughs there. It's inspiring to see this great turnout. It really is, and in all honesty, it's an honor to be asked to do the invocation today for, of course, the Mayor's State of the City address. Before I can begin here, I hope we can all agree that, regardless of which party we serve or support, some of the most significant qualities we want in our leaders, both locally and nationally, are: do they make us and our families feel safe? And of course, terrorism being a big topic worldwide. Do they create opportunities for us to provide for our families today, tomorrow, and in the future? Do they put service above self, like our Rotary Creed here, and act in the best interests of our city? And do they act and do they serve with integrity? Will you please all bow your heads? Heavenly Father of power and might, wisdom and justice, through you, authority is rightly administered. Laws are enacted, and judgment is decreed. Assist with your spirit of counsel and fortitude Mayor Lloyd Winnecke and all political leaders of Evansville and these great United States of America. May they always seek the ways of righteousness, justice, and mercy. Grant that they may be enabled by your powerful protection to lead our city and our country with honesty and integrity. We also ask that you bless the food we are sharing in the hands of those who worked very hard to prepare it. And finally, watch over us and our loved ones and keep all of us safe in our travels today. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Rick. You may be seated. You were greeted today by Jeffrey Bossy, Jeremy Williamson, Joan Shepard, and Billy Sanders. Since we have a large number of guests here today with us, at this time I would like for all guests and any visiting Rotarians to please stand at this time. Thank you. You may be seated. Again, thanks for being with us today as we celebrate so many good things that are happening in our community. We ask you to please come back and visit us often. And if you're interested in joining the Rotary Club of Evansville, please see myself or Vice President Cullen Stanley afterward for an application. Now on to our program. Will President-elect Luke Yeager please come forward to introduce Mayor Lloyd Winnecke.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple announcements from the podium. Number one, if you did not get your fill of chicken, Tropicana has agreed to give you a purple chip for your use on the boat. So just see Rebecca after the meeting. Want to make that announcement first. Second, this is a great time from the podium to mention our RSVP system, which is available online to ensure that we don't have to hand out purple chips and you get enough chicken. So apologies for the delay in some of the food prep there. So in preparation for the introduction today, I reached out to the Mayor's Chief of Staff, Steve Schaefer, and we were trying to put something together that was a little bit different so that you could maybe learn something about the Mayor that you don't already know, since he is so very well known to all of us. So, Mr. Mayor, if this goes well, it is completely Steve's credit. If it goes poorly, I'll take the blame. As you all know, Mayor Winnecke was elected the 34th mayor of Evansville and re-elected to a second term this past November with a resounding 62% of the vote. Mayor Winnecke is a native of Evansville, attended Central High School and the University of Evansville. If you spend 5 minutes with Mayor Winnecke, he will undoubtedly share a story or photo of his grandsons, Holden and Oliver, who live with his daughter Danielle and her husband Steve in Arizona. Mayor Winnecke is also very proud of his wife, Carol McClintock, who is an outstanding realtor and community volunteer. Wesselman Nature Society thanks you, by the way. Mayor Winnecke enjoys spending time with his father, Ralph Winnecke, who is also with us today. Mayor Winnecke is an avid St. Louis Cardinals fan and diehard supporter of his alma mater, the University of Evansville. He loves the sport of golf, but for some strange reason, his playing time has drastically decreased over the past 5 years. One of his common sayings around City Hall is that nice matters, and he truly lives by that motto. Mayor Winnecke has an endless supply of energy as an ambassador, champion, and problem solver for our community, Evansville. And he has an even bigger heart, especially for the city that he loves. Please join me in helping to welcome our mayor, Lloyd Winnecke, to the stage.
Thank you. Okay, this is going to be a little awkward. We have more microphones and mic stands than we have space for my folder here, so this might get a little clunky from time to time. Well, wow, thanks for being here today. We were doing a little run-through of my speech this morning, and I'd spoken for about 15 seconds, and Steve Schaefer looked at me and goes, "Hey, what's wrong with your voice?" I said, "Well, I'm losing it from cheering for the Aces all weekend." What a great weekend of pride for the University of Evansville. I don't know how that ball stayed in the air that long and then fell the way it did, but it was a heartbreaking loss, but a great testament to the hard work of Coach Simmons and the fine young men that he and his staff have coached these last few years, so hats off to all those. It is really an honor to stand before you today to offer the annual State of the City speech. We're now in our 3rd month of our 2nd term, and I am as humbled today to stand before you as I was.
Excuse me, thank you. It's clunky up here, I'm sorry.
Little breaking news, we have a new microphone to the as I was saying, John. That's all right. I'm as humbled today to stand before you to serve as your mayor as I was the first time I stood here 4 years ago. This is a job that I love. I cherish coming to work every day knowing that we are solving problems, some big, some not so big. And I'm grateful for the tremendous support of all of you and for residents all across the city. Now, you all know that Rotarians are always generous with their time and support, but you have one member that does stand out to me, and that's my wife, Carol. Carol is with us. I mean, it's side by side. It's a team effort. Whether it's joining us on a monthly trash pickup or planning a sister city trip to Germany, Carol's love and support is unwavering, and I could not go at the pace I go, and we could not make the progress we're making without Carol's love and support. Thank you, honey. My dad, Ralph Winnecke, is here. Now, I have to tell you that Dad follows all the media accounts of City Hall very, very closely. So, Zach and all of you guys over there, be accurate. Because Dad is not shy about peppering me with questions about current events. But I'm pleased to have Dad here today. He and Mom always instilled in us the importance of being involved and taking on leadership roles whenever possible. So thank you, Dad, for being here. In addition to a lot of other friends and supporters from around the city, we have one other special person in the crowd today. That's our longtime dear friend, Trudy Mitchell. Trudy, thank you for your years of support and love. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. We have a small staff, I'm one of 5 in the mayor's office, but I can tell you we work really well together. And I'd like to introduce Steve Schaefer, my chief of staff, Ella Johnson-Watson, our communications director, Marianne Hill, my executive assistant, and Chelsea Brown, new to the staff, replaced the retiring Sheila Spencer. Chelsea's been in the office about 3 weeks now, and I think she is catching on like crazy. So how about a round of applause for my great staff? I think this dynamic photo that's on the screen really speaks volumes about where we're going as a city. I think we are a city on the move. I'd like to give special thanks to Alex Morgan, the photographer, for this great image. As you know, our administration works at a fast pace. I see many of the department heads here in attendance today, and I thank them for their public service. Whether it's a text message, an email, or phone call, they understand the need to be responsive, courteous, and willing to go the extra mile. Our city is blessed to have dedicated public servants that know what is expected of them. Will you all please stand, whether a department head or city employee, and be recognized for your great effort? Last year I stood before you and declared that the state of our city is strong. And if you recall, we proudly gave and displayed everyone these strong city bracelets. Well, I'm pleased to stand here today and share with confidence that the state of our city is even stronger. And while I don't have new, stronger city bracelets, I think it's evident from our progress that we are, in fact, stronger. Whether it's a 3rd consecutive clean audit from the State Board of Accounts, healthy reserves, or spending less than budgeted, yet again, the city is in stronger financial position. As city officials working together in a collaborative manner is key, we know, for a city to succeed. And I know that the relationship between the mayor's office and the city council is stronger than it was a year ago, which is important for our continued success. I know that I've seen several members of the city council. I know President Mosby and Vice President Weaver are here. Will all members of the city council who are here please stand to be recognized? I knew I would have forgotten someone, so forgive me for not calling out everyone's name. The local economy is also doing well, with new and retained jobs producing historically low unemployment. Our unemployment rate is 4.3% in the city. Our city has become a desirable place for business and industry. You all know about Hire landing its first North American Research and Development Center in Evansville. You know about Fisher Dynamics coming to Evansville and the expansion of Berry Plastics, SS&C Technologies, and Mead Johnson. But Evansville has some lesser-known business success stories that are equally impressive, like eLuxurySupply.com. This startup company is headquartered in Evansville. I recently joined President and CEO Paul Saunders as he and his team announced that they're moving their Tennessee-based manufacturing operations to Evansville. eLuxurySupply.com is like many successful startups. It was born in the corner of a garage. It came to life 7 years ago before transforming into this 60,000 square foot production and distribution facility that will soon manufacture products for sale in more than 15 countries. The city of Evansville is happy to nurture the growth of a hardworking, veteran-owned company like eLuxurySupply.com, and equally pleased to assist a family that came together to restore and modernize plans for the former International Revolving Door manufacturing facility. The IRD group is reviving the fabrication of revolving doors within the former manufacturing facility and will then start a custom automation business. Before closing last spring, the International Revolving Door Company had been referenced as the oldest continuous manufacturing business in the city. The company proudly upheld its reputation as the premier revolving door manufacturer in the world, supplying doors for many iconic buildings. The economic impact generated from this project will exceed $40 million over the next decade. Jim and Josh Kratachville is the father-son team behind this deal. These are real investments being made by citizens in our community, business leaders right here in Evansville. Our city is happy to foster this type of growth through assistance from the Growth Alliance of Greater Evansville and our business incubator space at Innovation Point, which is at capacity. Chris Kennett and his team do a wonderful job in a very competitive environment to foster business growth and expansion. And while local government cannot ultimately ensure a company's success, it is our job to facilitate and provide an atmosphere for economic activity. When traveling around the city, or the state for that matter, the most frequently asked questions that I get concern the status of our major construction projects downtown. After all the debate, the budget challenges, the redesign, the convention hotel is really taking shape. I should know I drive by every day just to witness the progress. Here's the latest. The utility rough-ins are complete. The elevator shaft is done. One staircase is up. Another is coming out of the ground. The 8 sections of structural steel are erect, and in some places, metal framing is already beginning for the upper floors. Some of the photos you see on the screen are from our friend Mike Fetcher. Behind the scenes, HCW and Pillar Hospitality are hiring management staff. Tracy Wiley has been named the new general manager. He couldn't be here today, but Mary Beth Lewis, the new director of sales, as is Shane Weaver, the regional vice president of Pillar. Would you all please stand and be recognized? They are working closely with the Convention and Visitors Bureau to draw visitors to our city. You can also thank them for the little cookies at your table. They're DoubleTree cookies, if you didn't notice. Our friends at Hilton provided these tasty morsels, just like the ones guests will enjoy when they stay at our new hotel. And while there are many factors that can affect schedules, Hunt Construction is working diligently for completion of that project in December of this year. Now, before becoming mayor, I would say that I was a pretty patient guy. This may not surprise you, but the reality of construction and design processes on both the hotel and the medical school have taken my patience to a whole new level. All good. Medical school. Asphalt will soon be removed at the medical school site, and the D. Patrick showroom is scheduled to be raised in April, once the new dealership is complete at Walnut and US 41. Additional site work will occur after the demolition of the old showroom. I'm told that design work is progressing nicely. As I've committed before, the city stands ready to work with the state legislature on future funding for the inclusion of Ivy Tech in this magnificent project. I look forward to working with our delegation, state leadership, and Chancellor Jonathan Weinzapfel to make it a reality. It is absolutely fitting that we are meeting today at Tropicana. If you've not met General Manager John Chazar yet, I'm not surprised. He's been a tad bit busy since arriving last July. John, Stacey McNeil, and their entire team have been working tirelessly since the end of last year's legislative session when land-based gaming was approved to get to the point where we are today. I was pleased to join the local Tropicana team in Indianapolis recently at the State Gaming Commission. As has been widely reported, Tropicana now has state approval to invest $50 million on a new 75,000 square foot land-based casino. Who knows, we may be right in the floor of the future casino. Just as we were the first city in the state to land a casino development, we will become the first city in the state to have its riverboat casino move on land. Tropicana's investment will put them on a more level playing field with their competitors. It will also mean that we have the opportunity to move LST 325 to the location of where the riverboat currently sits. Tropicana is providing $1 million to the city to help facilitate that potential move. Engineers are in the very early stages of determining the LST's specific needs at the riverboat site. Tropicana, by the way, is also making a rent prepayment of $25 million to the city to be paid in 2 installments. We will work with our city department heads and the city council leadership to determine our best spending priorities. Tropicana anticipates an 18 to 24 month construction period. Think about this, we'll soon have 3 major construction projects underway in downtown simultaneously: the convention hotel, the medical school, and the new land-based casino. These projects represent a lot of jobs and a lot of money flowing through the economy. Today, I'd like to focus on 3 main areas: addressing our city's infrastructure, laying out what's next on our agenda and looking to some opportunities that we feel are on the city's horizon. Last year, the city spent about $1.8 million on street repair and resurfacing. In addition, we filled more than 13,000 potholes, 13,578 to be exact. I know we missed a couple of them, but we're trying to get to them. Sounds like a lot, but we all know that we need more. Unfortunately, cuts in the 2016 budget have greatly reduced the city's ability to address the problems on a broader scale. That being said, we must look forward, and we are. I'm pleased to announce today that it is the city's intent to invest almost $13 million over a 3-year period on our roads and to fix drainage projects that have been neglected for years. This plan, dubbed Municipal Moves, represents only a fraction of the groundbreaking Major Moves program implemented by Governor Daniels years ago. However, this infusion of funding does make a statement that the city is committed to addressing street maintenance and drainage issues that are desperately needed to be repaired. Let me be clear. Municipal Moves will not result in a tax increase, but instead is an innovative fix that will leverage different sources of funding. The 3-year intensive focus on street maintenance and drainage will use a portion of the Tropicana money I discussed earlier, regularly budgeted road repair monies, and the proposed release of local option income tax dollars by the state. Currently, the state holds back a portion of every city's local option income tax to ensure that there are no errors and disbursements by the state. In this case, local units of government across Indiana have been howling for additional resources for infrastructure. So the governor and key legislative leaders have seen fit to release each community's cash holdback. Assuming passage by the legislature, Evansville should receive about $3.3 million. The Municipal Moves plan will enable the city to pave more than 60 miles worth of roads and correct 21 drainage projects that have created hazards in the past. I believe this nearly $13 million investment will dramatically improve our streets and our drainage infrastructure. Now, a couple weeks ago, the Redevelopment Commission and the City Council approved the North Main Street project. I'm so tickled by that. Keep in mind that leaders in the Jacobsville neighborhood, one of the most economically challenged areas of our city, joined together several years ago to begin the process of reinventing itself. For decades, there has been limited investment there, which has contributed to the progression of blight and an overall degradation of the neighborhood. But neighbors said, enough. Committed stakeholders came up with a stellar quality of life plan, which featured 8 big ideas, including a new, modernized North Main Street, featuring a 21st century look and a protected bicycle path, which will be the first of its kind in the city. Now, Jacobsville lies within a TIF district, which is one of the most successful such areas in the city. Commercial properties generate roughly $1.5 million a year for that district. This money is designed for a project just like the neighborhood is asking for. The Jacobsville TIF can easily accommodate the cost of this project. The $16 million price tag will have no effect on any other part of the city budget or any other project in the city. This will be the first major municipal investment in Jacobsville since 1978. In fact, this project will also carry a significant return on investment. The Lockmuller Group's economic impact study shows the payback on the city's investment will come in less than 7 years, putting new income and jobs back into the Jacobsville economy. In addition, Echo Housing has been awarded $800,000 in funding for the state for the new Garfield Commons project, which will create 47 new living units in Jacobsville. Several of the leaders of Jacobsville Join In, the Neighborhood Association, and Echo are here today. These are individuals, they are the epitome of servant leaders, and the city is grateful for your passion. Please stand up to be recognized. When you think of infrastructure, it's not just our roads that need to be addressed. Over the past year, the city has made the elimination of abandoned, dilapidated structures a high priority. Last spring, I asked Kelly Coors, the head of, and his team in the Department of Metropolitan Development, to do a deep dive into this issue of blight. Here's what we learned. We have roughly 1,800 blighted residential properties. If we do nothing in the next 5 years to address these vacant blighted properties, taxpayers will spend over $26 million in maintenance costs for police runs, fire runs, and code enforcement work at these sites. This cannot continue. Under the Building Commission's leadership of Ron Bean, the blight elimination program with the state of Indiana has allowed us to demolish 64 of the 113 lots included in that program. But we know that's not nearly enough to make a difference in the revitalization of our urban core. Our administration will soon present a proposal to the Evansville Brownfields Corporation and to the City Council to reconstitute the Brownfields Board of Directors in an effort to transition that entity into the Land Bank of Evansville as prescribed by pending state legislation. With this transition, the administration will propose utilizing a portion of the Tropicana prepayment to acquire, demolish, and facilitate development on blighted properties. Specifically, the Land Bank would enter into an agreement with Vanderburgh County to take possession of about 200 properties that were on the 2014-2015 tax sale, no sale list. Our goal is to raise the structures that are beyond rehabilitation and hold them in the Evansville Land Bank until such time as we identify the appropriate for-profit or not-for-profit developer to come in and rebuild on those lots. The county will no longer auction off these zombie properties. This will not be done overnight. About 42% of our housing stock was built before 1960. And as I said, we have at least 1,800 blighted residential properties. But we are confident that our plan over time can transform the city by clearing the blighted properties and providing new, affordable housing. When addressing infrastructure, the elephant in the room is the water and sewer utility. As much as we would like to simply ignore what goes on underground, the reality is that both our water and sewer infrastructure is old and in some cases breaking down. After years of negotiations, affordability studies, tests, modeling, waiting, and frankly, digging in our heels, the City of Evansville now has an EPA-approved integrated overflow control plan. This plan will upgrade the city's sewer system infrastructure, improve operations, and dramatically reduce water pollution going into the Ohio River so that we will be in compliance with the Clean Water Act of 1972. The federal government wanted us to invest close to $1 billion. However, we said no. And we argued and we argued and argued until the EPA and the Department of Justice agreed to a $729 million plan to be implemented over 24 and a half years. We're calling this plan Renew Evansville. To be clear, this is federally mandated, but beyond the prospect of millions of dollars in fines for non-compliance, I believe we have a moral obligation to pursue these plans. We want a vibrant city for generations to come, and that means we must have a reliable, healthy water and sewer utility. Renew Evansville will be the largest infrastructure project in the city's history. Get this, when it's complete, 98% of the sewage overflow that goes into the Ohio River will be captured. B Slough will be turned into one of the largest wetland treatment centers in the United States. It alone will cost about $148 million. Initial work will begin there in the late summer or early fall with the construction of a relief sewer that will help drain the slough. The solution for B Slough will take years to complete. But when it's done, the smell will be gone. Utility Director Alan Mounts and Deputy Director of Engineering Mike Lubitsky are running point on this effort for the city. I will tell you they have shown grace under fire, as I will tell you that the meetings with the EPA can best be described as contentious. I don't think any of us will ever forget the first time the federal government suggested we spend close to $1 billion. But the fact that the federal government did agree to a longer plan time, 24 and a half years, is an important win for the city. Typically, the feds only agree to 20-year deals. To fund the $729 million plan, Rates will have to go up, probably every year for several years. We will work our hardest to mitigate those rate hikes to the extent we can while still meeting the EPA mandates. To give you a little better idea of the enormity of this plan, during the life of this public works project, over 200 capital projects will be required, more than 200. Our goal is to steer as much of that work as possible to local professional firms and construction companies. Now, on the other side of the utility, the process to improve our water system has also begun. Thankfully, the number and frequency of water main breaks is on the decrease from previous years. However, our recent trouble does underscore the necessity to ensure clean, safe drinking water so it's available and accessible for everyone. I need only say the words, Flint, Michigan, to drive home the importance of healthy drinking water. Know this, the men and women of the Evansville Water and Sewer Utility Department work around the clock to guarantee we have the best, safest water possible. But we need to continue investing in our water utility to ensure the long-term viability of our city. So what's next? Well, looking forward into the next few years, I will tell you that our city cannot rest on its laurels. We must continue our amazing momentum. With all the development happening in our urban core, we thought the timing was perfect to initiate an update on our downtown master plan. We have several goals, but here are two. We want a plan that will provide some common sense, quick wins. Secondly, we're committed to make sure this plan is an active document and not a document or a plan that just sits on someone's desk to collect dust. Cities need to maintain a current downtown master plan for a variety of reasons. Many grant programs require an updated plan. And we know that purposeful development is more desirable than a haphazard use of our limited space. Our most recent plan was completed in 2001. Work on this plan is almost complete, following an extraordinary amount of public input, for which we are very grateful. In the next few weeks, the city will unveil the latest update, which will include plans to activate our riverfront, recommend solutions for unused space, and how best to brand certain sections of our downtown. Just as our city's infrastructure has been underinvested in over the decades, we must take care of the facilities that have served our community well, in addition to developing attractive assets that will enhance our quality of life. While our city intends to make a substantial immediate investment in our infrastructure, our administration is exploring the use of the second part of the prepayment money from Tropicana for quality of life projects. I've asked my Chief of Staff, Steve Schaefer, to personally guide us through the process of identifying solutions that will enable progress and feasibility on 4 quality of life projects. First, Mesker Park Amphitheater. I intentionally removed Mesker Park Amphitheater from last year's political discussion, well, as much as I could anyway, in order to have a more thoughtful dialogue in a new year. Now is the time to gather stakeholders and figure out a plan that will help reopen this historic facility and provide memories for future generations. In the coming weeks, a task force will be formed to explore how best to restore and reopen Mesker. Right next door, Mesker Park Zoo. There is no doubt that we have a gem there on the west side. And it's hard to believe that Amazonia is 8 years old this July. The crowds keep coming. We'll break ground this spring on the Engelbrecht Family Carousel and Budgie Aviary. By the way, we're still looking for a title sponsor for the aviary. $250,000 contribution, get your name on it. You can talk to me afterwards, we'll be happy to line you up here. The carousel and aviary will be constructed near the paddle boat docks and will include party rooms. Please allow me to thank Capital Campaign Chairperson Margaret Cook for her incredible passion for this project, and a special thank you to the Engelbrecht family for their major investment in this exciting project. For Mesker Park Zoo, a new South American penguin exhibit is our next goal. This exhibit will highlight a South American neotropical penguin that can handle our local climate, so the exhibit will be outdoors with an indoor holding facility. The exhibit will be located near the front entrance to the zoo on the opposite side of the entry plaza from Amazonia. These penguins, known as Humboldt penguins, were once seen in the hundreds of thousands on the western coast of Peru and Chile. Today, they are considered vulnerable, and probably only 40 or 50,000 that are still alive globally. I will tell you that Zoo Director Amos Morris and his staff have an amazing vision, and it's all about preserving and improving one of Evansville's best assets. We're going to drive from the west side to the north side. On the north side, it's clear that our lone indoor pool must be replaced. Thousands of young people depend on this 40-plus-year-old pool annually. The pool's best days passed some time ago. A couple of Saturdays ago, I was at Energize Evansville, our monthly exercise program. It was water aerobics at Lloyd Pool. 2 young swimmers knew I was going to be there, so they came up and presented me letters. And the messages in those letters were similar to messages and letters I received for countless swimmers throughout the city. All make a very compelling case to replace Lloyd Pool. The last major investment there was just a couple of years ago with a new liner. In reality, it's probably the last liner that that pool can take, given the age of the pool and the topography of the site. The city cannot provide a solution alone, but will be a partner in building a replacement facility. As with the amphitheater, we will pull together a task force in the weeks and months to come to help guide our next step. Roberts Park. Almost 2 years ago, land use experts and the public alike were clear that the site of the former Roberts Stadium should best be used for green space. Designs were developed, public meetings were held, trees planted, a pedestrian bridge was built, and your fine organization made a significant financial contribution for a water feature. Today, I'm renewing my commitment to you and our citizens that we will build Roberts Park. Yes, we have temporary mulch trails on the site that can be used for walking or running, but our plan is to still build Roberts Park. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to connect green space from Morgan Avenue to the north to Lincoln Avenue to the south. You might note that I'm mentioning these projects in the what's next phase of this speech. That's because I expect our administration to identify solutions to each of those 4 so that we can move forward. Steve, you have a great task ahead of you, but we're all behind you. Stay tuned. Last December, Southwest Indiana received a great shot in the arm when we were selected as one of 3 regional city designees, which means our partnerships with Warwick, Posey, and Gibson counties will allow us to leverage local, public, and private investment to secure $42 million in state funding. The original enabling legislation passed just last year called for 2 recipients and not 3. So as the legislative session ends this week, we'll know soon how much they're funding. We feel confident, however, all 3 will be funded. All 3 would be funded through a very successful tax amnesty program run by the state. A special shout out to Greg Wathen and his phenomenal team of the Economic Development Coalition of Southwest Indiana for successfully driving this effort. This is a huge chance for us, for our city, and for our region. I will give you just a glimpse of some of the 19 projects that are included that affect the city. First, a major research component will be added to the medical school. So in addition to the undergraduate and graduate health and medical education occurring on campus, medical research will also be conducted. This campus, only blocks from where we are today, will be building a new pipeline of healthcare professionals and will be home to medical research that will undoubtedly improve the quality of healthcare. Regional cities will also help a joint venture between Vectren and Hire. These 2 corporate citizens are partnering on a new downtown living project called the New Urban Living Research Center. This is a housing development that will serve as a platform for research and development associated with energy efficiency and connected appliances that provide real-time data. Cutting-edge activity right in the heart of Evansville. A regional cities designation will also allow for the renovation of Evansville Regional Airport, which is very timely considering the news from this morning. If you have not heard, Evansville Regional Airport will soon be adding a direct flight to Orlando, Florida. Allegiant Airlines announced several new flights across the country today, and we're thrilled that Evansville will soon be part of its system. Brandon Myers of Allegiant Airways is in the audience with us. Brandon, where are you? Right back there. So, if you need to fly to Orlando, we want you to use Allegiant Air, because we want Allegiant Air to be back making further announcements about more service. Let me just tell you that Doug Jost and Marketing Director Leslie Fella, their entire team in the airport do a phenomenal job. They've attracted new flights. Now it's time, with this regional cities money, to give passengers a better experience inside the terminal. Also with regional cities, Derek Stewart and the leadership group at the YMCA have a vision to redevelop the downtown Y. They will match $5 million in regional city money with $5 million in private sector contributions to refurbish that facility. They will also partner with an outside developer to repurpose the former residential facility there, which was built in 1913. This could be potentially student housing for the medical school. That's just a brief view of some of the 19 projects set to be funded with regional cities money. Now, to those of you who are here today, or those that will be getting a recap of this address from the local news, I think one takeaway should be that numerous public and private investments are being made in our city, so we don't rest on our laurels. That being laid out today, I think it's obvious the level of activity in our city is intense, and our administration is not afraid to be aggressive. The opportunities that exist are exciting. Growth is occurring not only in our city's commercial markets, but also with activity in the cultural districts throughout our city. Homegrown entrepreneurs have made commitment to revitalize our city and are making investments on Franklin Street, Haney's Corner, and downtown. Last year, in Haney's Corner alone, 7 new businesses moved to the neighborhood. Two businesses expanded, creating 90 jobs. And get this, 80% of those jobs went to residents who live in the center city. Whether it's a restaurant, bar, or a music festival at Garvin Park, the resurgence of community-minded citizens is really refreshing. We should all thank the entrepreneurs that are the real reason behind the emerging cultural districts in our city. Haney's Corner and Franklin Street are just 2 examples of the cultural districts that are becoming destinations and will continue to be opportunities for growth and investment in the future. The city owes a great debt of gratitude to Bob Warren and the Convention and Visitors Bureau for their foresight in building the Deaconess Sports Park. After a full season of tournaments last year and filling 30 of 34 available weekends for this season, I think it's clear that this facility is delivering. These bookings include 3 national events. And after opening for a year, the sports park is projected to have an estimated direct economic impact to our city of $14.7 million. Success is further evidenced by the new hotels being planned on the east side. We appreciate those investments and others that are being made to support the great overall efforts at the Deaconess Sports Park. The opportunities at the sports park and Gable Soccer Complex are limitless. I'm pleased to announce today that the city will soon enter into an agreement with the CVB to manage both facilities. With a partnership between the Evansville Sports Corporation and the CVB, new resources will be directed towards recruiting bigger tournaments and to make improvements at the facility. While our city is making a name for itself in the world of youth sports, we will soon be a convention spot with the new DoubleTree Hotel, as well as the expansion here. I'd like to challenge everyone here today to help spread the word with your association groups, families, peers, colleagues, your neighbors, anyone that'll talk to you, to select Evansville as a destination for their next business or travel. Lastly, our Ford Center provides Evansville with numerous opportunities, and I'm not just referring to great concerts like Elton John and Luke Bryan. I'd like to take a moment to introduce everyone today to Mike Hall. When the city was at a crossroads with professional hockey, Mike and his family came forward with a solution. I often refer to Mike as an admitted super fan, and that passion translated into securing a new professional hockey team with the Southern Professional Hockey League to be ready for the 2016-2017 season. Please join me in thanking Mike and his family for ensuring that professional ice hockey continues in Evansville. Mike, please stand and be recognized. Now, if you don't like the name of the new team, that's a different story. My suggestion of winning keys didn't even make the short list. Good, many of you got it, okay. In all seriousness, soon the team will the new team name will be introduced publicly, and I am certain that the city will embrace it. On a serious note, because of Mike and all the tremendous servant leaders mentioned and not mentioned here today, our city is stronger, has significant work underway, with exciting opportunities on the horizon. There is no doubt that the political environment at the national level can be described as chaotic, maybe at best, as the current election cycle is front and center. And it's no secret that at times politics has gotten in the way of the progress at the local level. As President Abraham Lincoln once said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." Those few words are perfect words of advice for our friends in Washington. However, in our city, we've risen above the civil disagreement that plagues other cities. We are now putting Evansville first. For that, I am grateful and continue to be humbled and honored to serve as your mayor of the great city of Evansville. May God bless you, and may God bless the great city of Evansville. Thank you.